Let me ask you something. You get your salary, it hits your account. And then what? Most people just spend. No plan, no structure. Just hope that somehow, at the end of the month, something is left over, and it never is. So someone came up with a solution. A rule so simple you can explain it in one sentence. Split your money, 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings. That's it. That's the 50-30-20 rule. But here's the real question. Does it actually work? Or is it just another piece of internet advice that sounds perfect but falls apart the moment real life shows up? Today, we're going to find out. We're putting the 50-30-20 rule on trial, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether it belongs in your life or not. Let's start from the beginning. Where did this rule even come from? It wasn't some random tweet. It wasn't a finance influencer trying to go viral. The 50-30-20 rule was introduced by Elizabeth Warren, a Harvard law professor and later a US senator, in her book called All You're Worth, written back in 2005. Her argument was simple. Most budgeting advice is too complicated. Too many categories, too many numbers. People give up before they even start. So she designed something anyone could follow. 3 buckets, 3 numbers, done. The idea works like this. You take your income, not your gross salary, not the number on your offer letter, but the actual money that lands in your bank account after taxes. That's your starting point. Everything flows from there. 50% of that number goes to needs. Not things you want. Not things that are nice to have. Needs. The things that if you didn't pay for them, your life would genuinely fall apart. Rent or mortgage. Groceries. Electricity and water. Transport to work. Medical insurance. Minimum loan repayments. These are your non-negotiables. Half your income, right there. 30% goes to wants. This is the fun bucket. And honestly, this is what makes the rule sustainable, because it doesn't ask you to suffer. Wants are things that improve your quality of life, but aren't survival. Eating at restaurants. Going to the cinema. A new outfit. Your gym membership. Spotify. Netflix. A weekend trip. Anything that makes life enjoyable, but you could technically live without. 30% is yours to spend, guilt-free, and the final 20% goes to savings and debt repayment. This is your future self's money. Emergency fund. Investments. Paying off a credit card faster than required. Building wealth. 20% every single month going toward the version of you that doesn't have to worry about money. 3 buckets. Simple math. Sounds perfect, right? Let's stress test it. Take a real example. You earn $3,500 a month after tax. By the rule, you should spend $750 on needs, $150 on wants, and save $700. Let's look at the needs bucket first. $750. In a city like New York, London, or even many mid-sized cities today, rent alone can cost $1,400 to $1,800 for a basic apartment. Before you've bought a single grocery. Before you've paid your electric bill. Before you've filled your car with petrol or bought a Metro card. You're already at the edge of your needs budget, or past it, just from one expense. Add food, utilities, and transport, and you could easily be sitting at $2,200 in needs alone. That's 63% of your income, not 50%. And the rule is already broken before the month even starts. This is the biggest criticism of the 50-30-20 rule, and it's a fair one. The rule was designed in 2005, when housing costs were dramatically different. In the last 2 decades, rent in most major cities has doubled or even tripled. Salaries haven't kept up. So the math that worked in 2005 doesn't automatically work in 2025. If you're a young person in a big city, spending 50% on needs might be a fantasy, not a budget. So does that mean the rule is useless? No. It means the rule is a framework, not a formula. There's a difference. Here's what the 50-30-20 rule gets absolutely right, and this is where most people miss the point. The rule's greatest value is not the percentages, it's the categories. Because before this rule, most people had one bucket. Income in, expenses out, zero awareness of where the money actually went. The 50-30-20 rule forces you to separate needs from wants, and that is a genuinely powerful habit. Think about your own life for a second. Your gym membership, is that a need or a want? Your internet connection, need or want? Eating lunch at work every day, need or want? Ordering food delivery instead of cooking, need or want? These lines blur. We convince ourselves that things are needs when they're actually wants, and we never question it. The 50-30-20 rule makes you question it. Every single purchase gets a category. And when you start categorizing, you start seeing patterns. And when you see patterns, you start changing behavior. The second thing the rule gets right is that it forces savings to be non-negotiable. Most people operate on a save what's left system. They spend throughout the month, and whatever remains at the end goes into savings. The problem is, nothing ever remains. The money always finds somewhere to go. The 50-30-20 rule kills that system completely. 20% goes to savings first, before wants, before extras, before anything discretionary. You save first and live on the rest. That one change, paying yourself first, is the foundation of every serious wealth-building strategy in existence. Now let's talk about where people go wrong with this rule, because there are real traps. Trap number 1. Treating wants as needs. This is the most common mistake. You tell yourself your premium phone plan is a need. You tell yourself your car payment is a need. You tell yourself your expensive gym is a need. Some of these might genuinely be needs in your specific situation, but most of the time we inflate the needs category because it's more comfortable than admitting we're overspending on wants. Be brutally honest with yourself when you categorize. If you can cut it without your life falling apart, it's probably a want. Trap number 2. Ignoring the 20% because life is expensive. When money gets tight, savings is always the first thing people cut. Bills are due. Rent is due. Food is essential. So the 20% quietly disappears. And then next month, life is still tight, so it disappears again. And before you know it, you've gone 6 months without saving a single rupee or dollar. And your emergency fund is empty, and your future looks exactly the same as your present. The 20% has to be protected. Even if you can only do 10% or 5% right now, protect it, automate it, move it to a separate account the moment your salary arrives, so you never see it sitting there waiting to be spent. Trap number 3. Applying the percentages rigidly without adjusting for your reality. If your needs genuinely cost 65%, don't torture yourself over it. Adjust. Make it 65-15-20. Keep the savings intact. Cut wants. The spirit of the rule is awareness and balance, not hitting 3 specific numbers. The moment you start thinking of it as a rigid law rather than a flexible guide, you've already set yourself up to fail. So what's the honest verdict? Does the 50-30-20 rule actually work? Here is the truth. The 50-30-20 rule works, but not the way most people think. It doesn't work as a magic system that automatically fixes your finances if you just follow the numbers. It works as a mindset shift. It works as a starting conversation between you and your money. It works because it forces you to look, really look, at where your income goes and make conscious decisions about it. The people who fail with this rule are the ones who open a calculator, realize they can't hit 50-30-20, and give up entirely. The people who succeed are the ones who use the rule to understand their own financial picture, make adjustments that fit their life, and stay consistent month after month. You don't need to be perfect with this rule. You need to be honest. You need to be consistent, and you need to start. So here is your action for today. Before you close this video, take out your phone, open your banking app or your notes app, write down your monthly income after tax. Then write 3 numbers, 50%, 30%, 20% of that income. Then look at your actual spending from last month and see which bucket it falls into. Just that exercise, just that one look, will tell you more about your financial health than any advice video ever could. That's the 50-30-20 rule. Imperfect, flexible, and if you use it the right way, genuinely powerful. If you found this useful, subscribe to Money Habits. Every video we make is designed to give you simple, honest, practical money knowledge. No jargon, no fluff, just the stuff that actually matters. Hit the like button if this helped, and drop a comment telling me, are you a 50-30-20 person, or do you have your own system? I read every single one. See you in the next video.